So back in 2002 and early 2003, Universal was starting to promote Too Fast, Too Furious. One promotion was going to be a DVD re-release of the first movie with some special features attached to this DVD. The DVD was to be called The Fast and Furious Tricked Out Edition. What did that mean? Well, I can tell you right now. The DVD was to accomplish two things. First, they wanted to bridge the first movie as a lead-in to the upcoming Too Fast, Too Furious movie and to add some features, something like interviews with the cast or other bonus material. That's all I knew about it at that point. As it turned out though, they really wanted to trick out a car in real life. And I'm like, how they're gonna do that? The whole picture car department was shut down months ago. That story is coming up right after the break. Did you know that the average driver gets 9 traffic tickets in their lifetime? Look, I'll be the first to admit that I've taken maybe a couple of liberties with traffic laws back in the day. And of course, when I got caught, I had to go to court to fight the ticket, which was always a hassle. And each time that I lost my case, it meant big fines, points on my record, and higher insurance premiums. Eventually, I realized that nothing beats having a good attorney argue your case in court. So here's what you do. You download the Off the Record app to your phone and register for an account. And if you get a ticket, simply upload a photo of your ticket into the app and you will be quickly matched with a lawyer in your jurisdiction. Your lawyer will start working your case right away, and in most cases, you'll never have to set foot in a courtroom. Off the Record has a 97% success rate and a 4.9 star rating on Google. And guess what? They even offer a money-back guarantee if they aren't able to reduce the points or keep that ticket fully off your record. Best of all, I've arranged a 10% discount for all of my YouTube viewers, so download the app and register using the referral code FASTLIFE to receive 10% off your first case. At this time, I had just finished my contract with Universal as well, so I was surprised when I got a call from Universal asking me if I would be interested in building a car for a special segment on this upcoming DVD. And I said, okay, what does this entail? So they laid it on me. They asked me to be on camera while we were fixing up a car to make it really cool. There was no script and nothing beyond making a plan to build a tuner car. That was the only thing that they talked about. We want to build a car, you're going to do it. Okay. They didn't say what car we would be using, but I was really scared that Universal would be sending me a Dodge Neon SRT4, and if they did, I would have quit right then. So I was delighted that Mitsubishi agreed to provide us another Evo, as the platform obviously responds well to bolt-ons, right? So we had to work with the schedules of the shops, but this is right about SEMA time when it started, so I had to do something I don't like to do when building a car. We would do the paint work first. I wanted to do the engine work before painting the car because I didn't want to be tearing into the engine bay for fear of scratching the paint. That's the ways I usually do my cars. For the color, I chose the House of Color Candy Apple Red. Don't ask me the paint code because honestly, I don't even remember what I had for dinner 2 nights ago. And of course, there have been many changes to the House of Color products over the 23 years since this. Unfortunately, a couple of years later, Tokyo Drift cast an Evo as a main car. And since then, everybody confuses this car with the Tokyo Drift Evo. It's not the same car. My body shop is a place called Quigley's Auto, and they're in Lake Forest, California, and they're still in the same place and owned by the same family. I trusted them because this is the shop that painted my Supra twice, once yellow and then orange. And they painted my black R34 GTR to blue, and they painted to silver when I got it back, and they painted back to blue. So I trust these guys. And they fixed a few panels on my blue 98 Lamborghini Diablo, and the same thing with my yellow Diablo 6.0. And they did the wide body conversion of my E46 M3 a couple years later. So I started looking for partners. HKS, XS Engineering, Rod Mill and Motorsports, and Stitchcraft all signed on to the project, yes. Universal also had recruited some of the sponsors, including APC, Lightning Audio, and a few others, which would help out. I was very happy that HKS said yes, as well as XS Engineering, and Nitrous Express all agreed. So we had pretty much what we want, and Roha Wheels as well. By that time, though, Nitrous Express was producing nitrous systems under the licensed brand name of Fast and Furious Nitrous System. Okay. We now had the car, the sponsors, and the shops to ensure success. The Evo showed up on a gray day, and with its gray factory paint job, the car just looked very sad. It was bland, not exciting, and even I was having second thoughts at this point. The car was stripped, painted, buffed, and reassembled in about 3 weeks. Then the car went straight to Stitchcraft for the interior treatment and the audio video setup. I drew a diagram how to put the stuff in there, and they did it basically that way. While the car was at Stitchcraft, I reached out to Modern Image. Universal wanted graphics on the car, but this time I was allowed to design the graphics myself. So I leaned on the guys at Modern Image and we worked something out. The design was to make the car look like it was going fast, even if the car was sitting still. The gray area on the side of the car, the vertical stripes, they were reflective, so it looked really cool at night, in my opinion, of course. That process took about 2 weeks. The roll bar took another week, so now we're into almost a month. Tires and wheels were next. That took about 45 minutes. These tires and wheels were installed while the car was at HKS. The car also got a suspension upgrade at the same time. HKS added a bunch of equipment, including a bigger turbo, all the supporting modifications, including the electronics, and we also added an HKS intercooler and the necessary fuel system upgrades, including fuel injectors and upgraded fuel pump and an intake and all that kind of stuff. And a few pieces from Rod Mill and Motorsports and spent 2 days over there as well. And we were just about done at this point. So it was moving at the right pace, and we're getting closer and closer and closer. The production company was very professional. I think I worked with them twice, and they were very kind and they were very patient. They didn't know much about cars, so they relied on my opinions and the opinions of the other shops. At the time, I had just sold my R34 GTR and I picked up a 98 Lamborghini Diablo. So I suggest that maybe we could work that car into the video, because just kind of eye candy, Lamborghini pulls up and a beautiful girl jumps out of it. But I was more concerned about who they would pick as the co-host. And I know it was going to be a female, but they didn't tell me who. As it turned out, it was Daylene Curtis, who happened to be the Playboy Playmate of the Year in 2002. My wife didn't like that very much, and I said, look at me and look at her, no problem here. Daylene was attending business college at the time, and of course she was a model. She was actually very humble, genuinely nice, and had a great sense of humor. So we got along, and she tolerated my stupid jokes. However, as we got to the first day of filming, they were still sticking to the no script concept. They had no idea what we should be talking about. So I just did a tour of the car, standing in there feeling super awkward. They just forced me to go with it. If you've ever met me in real life, you know sometimes I go a little overboard in search of laughs, and sometimes I think I'm funny when I'm really not. It's one of my fatal flaws. I apologize. Anyway, Daylene rolled with the punches and handled it like a super trooper with grace, and managed to even smile a little bit. When the build was completed, we took the car to XS Engineering for a tuning and dyno session, and it went really well. Those guys are top professionals. But we have to remember that this car was brand new and it only had 39 miles on the clock when I got it. So I couldn't go winging for the fences under this one. For this reason, I told the XS Engineering guys I would be happy with 300 horsepower out the wheels. That would be fine. On the day we were to dyno the car, we were working on a couple of gremlins. Everything wasn't really coming together that I wanted it to. So we put in some 93 octane. That's all we could get in California back then. So we tuned for 93 octane. Slowly, we cranked up the boost in small increments, and then we slowly leaned it out after each run. Giant fan was used to cool the engine for 20 minutes, and then we would start over all again. And slowly, we were seeing bigger and bigger numbers after each tweak. And we ran out of time about 9:30 at night. We would have been there already 8 hours at that point. And I said, maybe we should wrap it up. The filming crew was tired, and the XS people had been working on it for at least 8 hours on that day. And that was like the second or third day with the car. It was decided that we should stop there, because if the engine blew up, it ruined the whole project, because when we stopped, the car had made 280 horsepower and 228 pound-feet of torque at about 6,520 RPM. Of course, they could have fixed a blown engine, but by this time, Universal was strongly leaning to make this car a giveaway. And they were talking about kicking off a campaign, possibly at the E3 event in Los Angeles in a few weeks away. And we wouldn't have enough time to rebuild the engine if we blew it up. So I gave the car a couple of rips up and down the parking lot, and I tossed them the keys. I said, this is good enough. And we thanked the wonderful people in XS So with the project complete, they strapped the Evo onto a tow truck and it rolled out of the parking lot at about 10 p.m., 10:30 p.m. Everybody was tired. 2 weeks before E3, I got another call from Universal asking my opinion on making this car a giveaway, perhaps at the upcoming E3 event in Los Angeles. Universal was worried that such a fast car, relatively speaking, could be dangerous in the wrong hands. But I also told them that a Prius was dangerous in the wrong hands, and I cited my own father, who couldn't push a shopping cart around a supermarket without knocking the cheese puffs off the shelf every week. Sorry, Dad. Anyway, I told them that this car is not for amateur drivers. I expected the car would be making around 400 horsepower at the wheels with proper tuning, and after the engine was broken in. So Universal went ahead and purchased a spot at E3 and hired me and Daylene Curtis to appear at the E3 show for several days while they were thinking it over. I only learned recently that it was Mitsubishi that didn't want to use this car as a giveaway for a couple of reasons: warranty considerations and safety considerations. They allegedly turned the car over to Universal and it was eventually sold. The last time I checked, that car was, I believe, in Maryland or Pennsylvania. So I'm pretty sure the owner knows the history, but if he doesn't, he should watch this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. It helps me with my algorithm. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.